Bill's brain is chaos, according to Melinda, his wife. Would you like to know how Bill Gates' brain works? Then stay tuned, for I will be sharing with you what I have learned from watching Netflix's series Inside Bill's Brain, Decoding Bill Gates, Part 2. Now, one of the first things I learned that I realized is that Bill dwells in complexity. According to Melinda, Bill can deal with a lot of complexity, and he likes complexity as he thrives on complexity. To me, this means that, that he's a crazy man, that he's a man that challenges himself. Bill can deal with a lot of complexity, and he likes complexity. He is someone that likes complexity. Are you someone that likes complexity? And he thrives on complexity. So that means that he tackles complexity. He challenges complexity. He is not afraid to tackle things that are difficult to him. And he's basically molded in there. As in, he's in that bubble of complexity. And it's just pretty incredible. I mean, how many people do you know that once they know that it's a hard problem, they tackle it right away and they want to, and that's what gives them energy. If you have people around you like that, then I believe that is good people, for I'm pretty sure they will gain a lot of knowledge, wisdom, skill, whatever it is. One of the second things I learned is that Bill takes think weeks. He gathers a bunch of books. Everywhere he goes, he always carries books. But in Think Week, he goes to a home. He goes to a house in one of his favorite areas to relax, but to do some reading, or to allow himself to think. According to Belinda, so when Bill stills and quiets himself, all these incredibly complex thoughts that he had, and these ways he can see the world, and he can pull ideas together that other people can't see. He thinks his best. So he takes these weeks to still himself from the whole world, from his work, from what he's used to be surrounded with, and he goes there to relax the mind, to think quietly with no distractions. And Melinda says that when he does this, his thoughts are more clear, and he's able to lead the way he wants to lead. When the director asked Melinda why does he go on Think Weeks, she responds, he stilled himself and he had time to distill and slow down, and then write and lead in the ways he wanted to lead. The director mentions that Bill started taking Think Weeks back in the 90s when he was still running Microsoft. To Bill, Think Week is CPU time. It's time that you get to think about things. CPU. The definition they use to define CPU is Central Processing Unit, which carries out the instructions of a computer program. Without one, a computer can't make calculations or decide how to function. So, the idea that he has when he goes to the Think Weeks is this. Then you think, okay, do I need to read some books? Do I need to read some books about that? Who do I need to talk to about that? And sometimes I say to myself, hey, I just need to think. So when he makes these travels, when he goes to Think Week, he has these stacks of books to help him solve a problem that he has. And if he doesn't require books, he does it on his own, just thinking. Or maybe he calls people. Somebody that may have knowledge in that specific area that he is seeking. Yeah, another thing to know is that he always carries books everywhere. Reminds me of Alexander. I think it was Alexander the I forgot who it was, but somebody else that always travels with books. So much. Another thing I noticed is that Bill considers himself to be a very lucky person. As I watched all 3 parts of this of this series, Netflix series, they're always mentioning his luck or how he considers himself to be lucky. Is it that? And I ask myself, is he lucky because he sees the world in a lucky way, or are things actually lucky? What I mean is that if you think you are lucky, you are going to focus on other beautiful things or opportunities that you have. But if you look at the world as you have bad luck, you're most likely going to focus on the bad things that happen to you. But if you consider yourself lucky, I believe you open your mind and you allow those things to come your way. As if you consider yourself to be an unlucky person, you're always going to see the negative things in your life. So I wonder if that's how he has his mind. He just considers himself lucky, so he creates this optimism and he creates a better way, to open to ideas. A better way to tackle things, because he has an optimistic view or vision about things. When Bill was a child, or when he was during his school time, during school he had a best friend by the name of Kent. According to Bill, we were always scheming about, what we'd be doing 5-6 years from now. And everybody else was like, why aren't you just hanging out at the dance? So while everybody was being normal, they were out there already thinking about the future. Isn't that awesome? Some of us start pretty late thinking about that. Some of us. I could say I may be one of those. May. Bill. Referencing Bill, Kent had an interest in business, and so he got me reading Fortune magazine and thinking about if you went into civil service, what did you make? Should we go be CEOs? What kind of impact could you have? Should we be generals? Should we be ambassadors? And this idea that some people were super successful, that was interesting. I mean, what did they know? What did they do? What drove those kinds of successes? And why did some industries have few big companies and other industries have lots of small companies? So that was what was going around Bill Gates' brain under his 20s. And he was already focusing and thinking about the future. He read about all these successful people, and he pictured himself as a scientist, as an ambassador, and he decided to take his route, I believe, from viewing or getting to know the history of those people by reading about them. And he was interested in success. So he read what was it that made them successful. So maybe the good thing is to study success. What makes some people successful and some not. And the director also says that the two best friends believe that someday they would do extraordinary things. The key or the note here is that they believed that someday they would. Not maybe, they would. Unfortunately, Kent passed away and they weren't able to do that which they dreamt of, but Bill was able to continue and create that which he dreamt. As the series goes on, as the little movie goes on, they add Warren Buffett, and they are playing bridge. They are playing bridge like a card game. The director asks Warren Buffett, "Tell me about bridge and why you and him love it." Warren Buffett, "I consider it the ultimate game. It's a partnership game, which is unlike a great many games. So you have to work with another person for one reason or another. If you don't connect well with him or her, you know it isn't going to work. You can't do it by yourself. The director adds on by saying, bridge partners must communicate without even speaking. Only way to win is to mind meld with your partner. It's pretty interesting, huh? This game called Bridge. I have not played it yet, but I like what it's about. If you don't connect well with him or her, it's not going to work, and you can't do it by yourself. So it's a game that you have to succeed by being in a team, and you cannot win if you do not understand your team players. So it's pretty interesting. I am most likely going to consider that game or play it in my lifetime. The director mentions that Bill has only met a handful of people in his life with minds that operate like his own, and I believe he is referencing Warren Buffett. Wouldn't you like to have a friend like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett? Then maybe you have to have a similar mindset. So he says, that's what the director says. Warren adds by saying, it's enormously important that you do have the right friends. If they make you a better person than you otherwise would be, that's the ultimate gift. Wisdom, words of gold, value right there, thrown right at you. Now that's, friendships are really important, the people you have around you. It's a beautiful thing. I grabbed a little quote from Bill Gates. It was referencing how that if he wants to solve a problem, if you really want to make a dent in this thing, you better think wholesale. Because if you think less, I guess you are limiting yourself. But if you really want to help 10 people, you have to focus on helping 20 in order for you to actually succeed and make those 10 happen. I believe that is his philosophy or his mind. That's how he sees things. How come Bill Gates lends, or Warren Buffett invests in Bill Gates, in the Bill and Melinda Foundation, I believe, or to some project. And the director asked Warren, how do you come to the decision to give all this money to Bill and Melinda? Warren Buffett replies, well, once you have the premise that every human life is of equal value, I mean, that directs a lot of what you, both your money and your efforts and the people you attract and all sorts of things involved in that. Gotta think a bit on that one, huh? Pretty interesting. He gave him like $31 billion. I'm gonna take that out of my pocket right now. Look, here it is. Da-na-na-na. That's too bad. I'm gonna go to this. Fine. Yeah, it's a lot of things. I could keep on going. Should I keep on going? No. Let's just watch the Netflix series. If you can't watch it, well, I'm going to continue. But watch the Netflix series. It's really awesome. You're going to see them express themselves and how they speak, how they communicate. You know, the way I'm speaking, I'm not speaking as they say it. You know, they have their own tone of voice. And why not listen to the men themselves and the woman himself? For they also speak about Melinda, a confident person. They work as a team. Melinda and Bill work as a team. They work equally. You know, they do things together. Watch this scene. And I'm guarantee you're going to find some value unless you are somebody successful as them. And maybe if you are successful as them, you can use those lessons as a reminder, just to make sure you still got that brain in shape. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. So now we're going to get to know a little glimpse about how hard they work. They work pretty hard, consistent hard workers. What do I mean by hard working? Hardworking? Well, Paul Allen, who has passed away, rest in peace. His friend says he's an amazing programmer. There were times when he would fall asleep, literally put his head on the keyboard and fall asleep. Then he kind of groggily wake up and look at the screen, and then he start typing right where he left off. Bill. And so we worked day and night, and then a few months later, Pa, we were just bursting with excitement. We barely slept. We would take breaks off for fast food and go back to work until 3 in the morning. Bill, we were hardcore about, hey, if you're working on a piece of code, just get it done. Don't worry about sleep. Bill, I love going into work, and you know, work is my whole life. Now, as we continue watching, we get in an area where Paul ends up leaving Bill or Bill ends up replacing Paul, however that works, because Bill believes that Paul is no longer carrying his weight, as in he is not working as hard as Bill. So he decides to get a president to replace his office. And that's when his friends of Bill say that Paul had other interests. Paul loved all these things that fell so far outside of, where the company was focused. He was deep into science fiction, read obsessively Shakespeare, was interested in Shakespeare, and he was considered an accomplished guitarist, as someone who actually knows he's really good at playing a guitar. Compared to Bill, according to Bill, a key advantage I had was being fanatical. That is, taking all my capabilities day and night and just focusing on, okay, how do you write good software? I love being fanatic. Eventually, I reveled in it. And I didn't believe in weekends. I didn't believe in vacation. Bill Gates' friend. Bill had more intensity and drive than anybody I know. Bill, for a lot of people, it wasn't an ideal place to work. We were pretty frantic and demanding. So right now what I'm sharing with you is that Bill was really focused in his craft compared to Paul, who had other interests. He was still interested in their project in Microsoft, but he had other interests and he gave energy to those, compared to Bill, who just focused and focused and focused. And he just had these big old binoculars that expanded so much that the only thing he could see was Microsoft. He just had that focus, and I believe that's what regarding to as what led him to be successful. Not only to be successful, but to master, to just more than master, just to take over. So yeah, that's a little, there's a tip too. He found what he liked doing, or he created it. I don't know what it is, but that's how he tackled the things. That was his approach. Now we're going to another scene. Director. People were telling Bill it wasn't worth it, that polio would never be eradicated. Bill has this project in the series, that he is trying to eradicate polio, but a lot of difficulties are coming that are preventing him from actually succeeding. That is why director says people were telling Bill it wasn't worth it, that polio will never be eradicated. His friend Bernie says Bill takes chances. He dislocated his shoulder surfing down a volcano in Ecuador. When riding bikes with him, he will go full on down some incredible hill, no fear whatsoever. Same with skiing, he is fearless. He will do the most extreme thing. So the message that they are trying to share with us is that he is fearless, that he is determined, that he takes chances, he allows himself to see what's on the other side of the hill. He is not somebody that stops. He is fierce competitive. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is much more that I have here to share with you, but I feel like I've extended the time a decent amount enough. So if you found this video useful, share with somebody that might learn, or watch the Netflix series as of this day. It is still on there, and I'll be sharing with you part 3 soon. I'm gonna leave you off with Chris's friend saying Bill was 110% committed to Microsoft's 365 days a year. Paul may have initially been that way, but was becoming much less so. Bill felt that Paul was no longer carrying his weight. I added more than I should have. But the point is that Bill was 100% committed to Microsoft. 365 days. No breaks. Thank you for watching. All I ask of you is to share the story. Gracias.